In this lesson, you are going to learn how to develop your autonomy during your pregnancy as a part of your birth preparation. I'm going to give you the big picture, but also leave you with the practical steps and some tips. I want to start by saying that I believe that having an autonomous birth is one of the best goals for your birth. But first, let's tackle a question that I get all the time, one that doesn't have an obvious answer, and that is, what does it even mean to have an autonomous birth? An autonomous birth is the best kind of birth. It's a birth where you, and only you, have complete control over what happens to you and your baby. You're confident, you're in charge, and you're respected as the ultimate authority of your birth, your body, and your baby. An autonomous birth isn't dependent on any specific style of giving birth, and I want you to hear me loud and clear. You do not need to have a home birth to have an autonomous birth. You can have an autonomous birth in any setting with any care provider, and it could be any type of birth, from a water birth to a home birth to a planned cesarean, okay? It matters less about your physical location and your care provider of choice, and matters more about you and what's going on in your mind with your body. It's when you're informed and aware of all of your options, and when you are free to make intuitive decisions without any coercion. When you're free to literally choose anything that you want for you and for your baby. An autonomous birth will give you the best chance at avoiding a traumatic experience and the best chance at starting your motherhood journey with a deep sense of calm. Autonomous birth is intuitive birth. It's birth without guilt, it's birth without shame. It's birth without pressure or coercion, and it's the best kind of birth there is. Have I said that already? I believe that developing your autonomy in preparation for birth is the most underrated piece of the birth prep puzzle. Not only will doing so transform how you give birth, but it'll transform how you mother your children, and honestly, it'll transform every aspect of your entire life. Most people think that birth is just a physical event. Some people understand you need to prepare your mind as well, but very few people understand the importance of truly developing your autonomy, your sense of self, your confidence, and the role that this has in your birth experience. So why is developing autonomy so important for birth? When you reclaim your inherent power as an autonomous woman, you're able to make decisions that align with your core beliefs and align to your intuition with zero cares about who it offends or what policy has to say about it. When you live autonomously, you can live authentically with zero shame and zero guilt. When you experience an autonomous birth, your chance of having a traumatic experience drops to almost zero, no matter the health outcome of you and your baby. So if you're feeling a little anxious about tuning into your intuition and being able to stand up for yourself during your birth, or maybe you're finding it hard to trust that you are making the right choices, or hard to trust that you won't throw your preferences out the window when a provider abuses their power, then this is such a key step for you, and I'm going to give you some practical tools in just a minute. With a little effort, day after day, you'll be able to hear your intuition loud and clear and allow your authentic self to bloom. You'll be able to say no to the things that don't serve you, like unnecessary interventions, and yes to the birth of your dreams. Yes to the things that you really want from your birth, but you're too nervous to actually go for. I know you're ready to stop relying on other people's approval to make your birth a perfect representation of your desires, and I know you're ready to take the responsibility for your birth. So, how do you actually do it? I'm going to walk you through my framework for setting yourself up for an autonomous birth. It goes like this. First, you need to learn how to think critically, and lucky for you, you've already learned the exact steps to do this. I want you to think critically about pregnancy and about birth, because you can't make autonomous decisions for yourself without this basic foundation. Then you need to start building your confidence so you actually feel comfortable standing up for yourself. Remember that this is your birth, and we don't want anyone to get in the way of that. Next, you need to surround yourself with people that truly understand that your desires come first. I want you to set that bar so high for the people you allow into your birth space. You also need to start owning your actions, for better or worse, and I promise it's not as scary as it seems. It's called radical responsibility, and it's so empowering. Then you need to learn about your legal rights during birth and how policy shouldn't actually dictate the care that you receive. And then you'll practice advocating for yourself. Literally practice. Practice saying no and practice speaking your truth. And after you follow this framework, you'll be ready for an autonomous birth. Now let's break each of these down so I can give you some practical tips. So you're already pro at using your critical thinking skills when it comes to pregnancy and birth. And you already have the rainbow steps to making autonomous and informed decisions. So I just want to reiterate that you can't make autonomous decisions for yourself in pregnancy and in birth without this foundation. The most important parts of the rainbow formula when it comes to autonomy are tuning into your intuition and honoring what your intuition is telling you. And also examining if there's any outside pressure or obligation before you make a decision. But remember, you always need to start out by asking yourself, is this a normal variation or is this a true complication needing an intervention? I want to be clear that you don't need to be asking your care provider questions like this, though you totally can. But to have an autonomous birth, you should be tuning into yourself with these questions first and foremost. You are here to cultivate your personal autonomy, not to learn how to be a good patient to your care provider. This is your birth and you call the shots. Let's dive into some practical ways that you can grow your confidence leading up to your birth. I just want to say that if you've never been one to stand up for what you want, you're not going to magically start being that way during your birth. The more practice that you have standing up for yourself, the more confidence you will have and the easier it'll be to make autonomous decisions, not from coercion. The first thing I want you to do to build your confidence is to be hyper honest with yourself and with others. When you're talking to someone about yourself and about your birth, speak with authenticity. And if you feel like you can't be honest or shouldn't tell your truth, ask yourself why. If you live your life authentically and unapologetically, there's really nothing to hide. I want to take a second about something that typically comes up when I'm coaching moms to speak their truth and to live authentically. They say to me, for example, it's just easier if I lie and tell people that I'm planning to give birth at the hospital instead of being honest about my home birth plans. Or maybe they say when people ask me about how much weight I've gained, I just make up a random number because I don't want to hear them shame me about how much weight I've gained during pregnancy. My response to these types of statements is that you're doing yourself an injustice. They may seem like little white lies, and by all means, you keep doing you, but I really encourage to ask yourself why you feel the need to put up a front for someone. The goal here is to be absolutely dripping with authenticity. Your real, raw, unfiltered self deserves to live not in a little bubble or in a cage. You're keeping yourself hidden for fear of other people's opinions or fear of confrontation or fear of shame. And if you think that's not the case and you think that you're just setting boundaries or something, think again. Because if you really didn't care what anyone thinks, if you could feel fully secure in yourself and in your choices, then no amount of shame from other people will make you feel ashamed, and no amount of confrontation would stop you from speaking your truth. With authenticity comes such a deep level of calm. And like I said, you can keep doing you by all means, but I just want you to ask yourself, why? Okay, let's jump back into another way that you can grow your confidence during your pregnancy in preparation for your birth. I want you to kill your imposter syndrome. All of that comparing yourself to other people that you do, the thoughts like, maybe I'm not strong enough for a natural birth, or my pain tolerance isn't as high as theirs, or why couldn't my body give birth vaginally last time? Why is my body broken? All of those thoughts are not invited to your next birth. It's so easy to get in our heads and to compare ourselves to what we think other people are like. But remember that every single person has moments just like these. So when you're feeling like a fraud, I want you to take a second to remember the things in your life that you're proud of. Your kindness, the way you treat your friends, how good of a mother you are going to be or that you already are, and the way that you act towards strangers. Those are life's true successes. And you've already heard all about my belief that your thoughts determine your reality. So if you believe you are worthy and capable, then you are. It's as simple as that. Let's talk about surrounding yourself with people that support you as the authority of your birth. During one of the next modules, we're going to talk about the people that are actually invited to your birth and the weight of that decision. So for now, let's consider your wider community. It's incredibly important to surround yourself with people that respect your desires and your boundaries and who believe that you are capable of the birth that you're desiring. And this absolutely extends past the people who are attending your birth. I'm talking like your coworkers, your friend circles, all of that. You need to know that your desires come first. And not only is that okay to acknowledge, but it's also a huge part of showing up in your life autonomously. And a quick reminder, just because someone's family or somebody has been your best friend for 20 years, doesn't mean that they're going to be a part of your support system leading up to your birth. And to be brutally honest, sometimes they make the worst support people. So give yourself permission to put some space between yourself and others to help yourself get into the right headspace leading into your birth. It's also important to realize that your support system extends beyond the people that you know in real life. You need to decide what kind of birth you want, but beyond an autonomous one, so I mean a VBAC, a free birth, a home birth, or whatever you choose, and find other moms who have walked that path before you. So if you're shooting for a home birth, find yourself a community. If you want a hospital birth with no intervention, surround yourself with the stories of women who have done that before you. And always remember, don't listen to anyone that doesn't support your role as the ultimate authority of your birth. At the end of the day, you need to live with the choices that you make for yourself and for your baby, nobody else. And these last three, owning your actions, learning your legal rights, and advocating for yourself, these are the topics that I'll dive into throughout the next 3 video lessons, and we will do a deep dive into each one of them. Until then, I'm here to show you that you already have exactly what you need to give birth to your baby. And sometimes it's just too easy to forget after a lifetime of being told to turn to other people for all of the answers. And I'm going to tell you now that you're probably not going to wake up tomorrow and start living your most autonomous and authentic life. But with a little effort, day after day, authenticity and autonomy will become your norm. I'm honored to be here and to help you have it all unfold. I believe in you. I trust you to know what's best for yourself and for your baby, and I'll always give it to you straight up, super honest style. That is my promise to you.